UFC Fight Night Garcia versus Onama is coming up this weekend, and today, guys, I have the complete betting guide with timestamps if you'd like to skip any part of the video. Hello, everybody, and welcome back to another video. If you are new here, my name is Kyle. I'm your guy with many YouTube channels. Like I said, timestamps are there if you'd like to skip any part of the video. We're going to be going through the channel betting recap, confident picks, underdog opportunities, fights that I believe you should not be betting on, my personal lock of the week, and then we're going to close up the video with the more unstructured part of the video, that being looking for any props that they have available and fun parlays. With that being said, let's get started with the channel betting recap. And I'm sad to say, man, we had two bets up on screen right now. And of course, we have a fun parlay, which as at Maxim ended up losing the fight, which is crazy. But of course, if you're new to the channel over here, we have a fun parlay. I throw $5 at it every week. And I personally hate MMA parlays. Something's always bound to go wrong. So that's why I never throw anything significant at it, okay? But we had two official plays on the board. The first being Ludovic Klein versus Mateusz Rebecki over 1.5 rounds. And for Nasrat Haqparast to win. I'm shocked. I'm shocked that Nasrat lost that fight. I thought he was going to be the clear, superior fighter. But hey, ended up getting caught, ended up getting knocked out. I'm not sure if it's because I was underrating Quillan Salkilled or if he just ended up getting caught, if it was a short notice fight. Things like that, who knows? But I'm going to bite the bullet on that one. Unfortunately, we only landed one of our two bets this time around. But Ludovic Klein versus Mateusz Rebecki going over 1.5 rounds, that went exactly as expected. You have two insanely tough guys. Difficult to finish. I thought they were going to go to war. They did go to war. I actually liked this fight to go to finish, and I wanted, my gut told me to bet more on it, but I didn't because what I was worried about was that scar tissue that always gets opened up with Mateusz Rebecki, and if it's bad enough, the fight's going to get called, and then I won't get my ghosted decision bout. 1.5 comes nice, as usual. They had decent odds for it as well. It's toughy, man, because I was so sure about Nasrat Haqparast. Hey, what can you do, though, guys? If you are interested in either supporting the channel or seeing exactly what I'm doing with my own money, then you can check out the channel membership in the pinned comment description down below or right next to the subscribe button every single Friday or Saturday, depending on whether or not I'd like to bet on Friday fights, because I primarily am a UFC bettor. I'll be posting a community members post along with a members only video diving into exactly what I'm doing with my own money. If you'd like to either support the channel or just combine my fight knowledge with your own research, then you can check out the channel membership either way. Thank you so much for listening, guys. Let's get into the official betting guide today. Let's get into the confident picks. And this is a difficult card, guys. I do not like this card for betting at all. I've heard people talking about it in the full card breakdown, which, by the way, if you would like to hear me dive into these fights as deep as we can get, I already do have a full card breakdown video available. But I saw some people talking about how there were some picks on here that they really liked. I'm not feeling that way about this card, guys. I think it's a difficult card to bet on. And so far, there's only one bet that I personally like, okay? But let's get into the confident picks. And the first reason why I don't necessarily like this card for betting. I'm picking Dante Johnson because he's fighting Cedric Dumas. Cedric Dumas comes into the octagon. He does nothing in there. The guy's getting arrested. The guy can't be committed to training. He goes in the octagon. He doesn't do anything. I can't believe he has any wins in the UFC. I'm picking literally anybody to win against Cedric Dumas. That's my entire logic with this one. To the point where I actually want to throw money at this, but the problem is Dante Johnson isn't UFC proven yet. I do like Dante Johnson to win this fight, though. I'm confident that anybody at this point in the UFC and at the UFC level could beat Cedric Dumas. Let's continue on over to the next confident pick over here. It's going to be Isaac Delgarian. Isaac Delgarian, assuming that he's coming back to the octagon 100%, because that's something that you need to worry about, okay? Because he's been off for a long time. He's been off for well over a year. I personally don't know if he's been injured or anything like that. If you're a betting man, that's something you should probably be checking up on. But he's one of those prospects that I do believe people have been rightfully hyping up. I love his wrestling game. Love the transitions. Love the threat there. The guy is an animal. He's an absolute animal. I think he is well above like the entry UFC level. And I think that he's going to get past Yadir Devel. I like Isaac Delgarian a lot in this matchup. Okay, let's continue on to another confident pick over here. Now, it's important to note that out of all of the confident picks here, this is my least confident pick, okay? Because both guys are still a little green in MMA, and we're going to circle over to Octagon 79, and it's going to be Radek Razul. I've really liked what I've seen recently from him, and Corey Fry, he's been okay. He's been okay, okay? It's just, I'm not saying that he's a bad fighter or anything like that, but I like what I've seen recently from Radek Razul, and even in the fight against Jack McGuire over here, he ended up getting submitted, but he was pounding Jack McGuire to death in this fight. Like, he was looking good in this bout. He ended up winning his next two fights, looking really good, getting finishes there. I like the momentum that he's on. I like that he's going to have a little bit of a size advantage. He'll probably end up using that over here. I think he's going to get the job done, Radek Razul, and I'd be interested to see what the lines end up being for this one, because if he's an underdog, that's a pretty solid play. So, again, keep in mind, when you have guys, unfortunately, like, as green, and I mean as green, like, you know, the competition level over an octagon and things like that, and the lack of pro fights that they've had, it's something to take into consideration, but I do like Radek Rule over here, okay? Let's continue on to a couple underdog opportunities. These are not fights that I'm going to be betting on. I'm just talking about if you're specifically looking for value, these are underdogs that I could very well see getting the job done, okay? The first is going to be Daniel Frunza. Guys, actually, I've received a little bit of pushback from you guys over on the full card breakdown about Charles Radke. I could be wrong about this. I believe Charles Radke to be, like, I'm saying out of his prime because he, age-wise, is out of his prime. And he's not going in there and competing like he's like some insanely, like, you know, high cardio, in his prime, in shape guy. He's, like, physically in shape. He's out of his prime now. And he's going to likely continue to downslope, in my opinion. Maybe he'll prove me wrong. He's never really impressed me all that much. He's been 10-5. Daniel Frunza, I imagine would be more motivated. He's going to have a slight height advantage over here. The guy is actually in his prime. I like some of the wins that he's got, and I think that he has all of the tools in the world to get the job done over a guy like Charles Radke. Plus, Charles Radke just got finished. Something you need to take into consideration there. I'm not confident that Radke's going to lose or anything like that. All I'm saying is for underdog value, I like Daniel Frunza a lot in this matchup. I'm definitely not going to be betting on this fight. It's just, there's a little bit of my logic there, okay? Let's continue on over to the next underdog opportunity. And guys, very, very important to note, okay? If you happen to value my opinion at all, and I mentioned this in the full card breakdown as well, first of all, it's going to be Ante Delia. I have a bad history of calling Waldo Cortes-Acosta's fights incorrectly, okay? The only one that I've gotten right recently was Sergey Pavlovich. But all of these wins that he's had over here, I've picked against him. I don't remember about Andrei Arlovsky, but I picked against him in these 3 wins for sure. And he keeps getting the job done. If you value my opinion, just note, I always want to be honest with you guys. I usually get this guy's fights wrong. I don't think he's a good fighter. I don't. He comes in there. He has decent power in the heavyweight division. That's pretty well it. He finds himself barely winning these fights that he's in. He's not that active in there. He doesn't have a solid skill set. And Ante Delia has fought some okay opponents. He's a big guy. He can get the job done in there. I'm kind of like Cedric Dumasing this. But of course, he's not as bad as Cedric Dumas. I don't think he's good. I don't think he's a good fighter. And I'm going to pick against him again. Ante Delia, he's an experienced fighter. He's fought some good guys. I would imagine he's going to come into the UFC. Maybe look okay. Waldo Cortes-Acosta isn't all that. I like Ante Delia in this matchup, okay? Let's continue on over to some fights that I believe you guys should not be betting on, okay? The first being the Talita Alencar versus Ariane Carnelossi. It's mostly because of Talita Alencar in her last performance, okay? Talita Alencar, historically, in my opinion, has been one of the worst fighters in the UFC. She showed up in her last fight, likely on PEDs, and she performed significantly better. Just the eyeball test shows that she might be on PEDs. She looks different. She performed way different. All of a sudden, she wasn't the worst fighter in the world anymore. I don't know how she's going to show up in this fight. She could very well show up, be stronger, just get a hold of Ariane Carnelossi and do a little bit more of the same thing. I need to see another performance like that from her to say, like, okay, you know what? She's probably on some juice. She might be able to go on a roll over here. Perhaps that was a one-off performance. Just because of Talita Alencar, I believe you guys should be avoiding this fight, okay? Let's continue on over to the next fight, that being Montserrat Ruiz versus Alice Ardeline. 2 girls that suck fighting each other. Who knows what's going to happen? I would imagine Alice Ardeline gets the job done, but last time I looked, she's a favorite that she should not be that big of a favorite because she sucks too. Both of them suck. Who knows what's going to happen? Maybe a 1.5, okay? Let's continue on to a little bit of the opposite logic over here. We have Alan Esamanto versus Rafael Estevan. Both guys, very good fighters. Very good talent. Have taken on good guys. Have gained a little bit of decent experience so far in their careers. I think both of them have a lot to offer in this matchup. I think both of them are really, really great prospects. I don't know how this fight's going to go personally. Maybe, again, I don't mind a 1.5 for this one either. Kind of the same logic with, like, Mateusz Rebecki and Ludwig Klein, except not nearly that much. I love the 1.5s when you have guys, like, just that tough. I could see that happening for this fight, so I'd be interested to see what the rounds are for this one, but I'd stay away from this one as well. With that being said, guys, let's continue on over to Lock of the Week. The fighter on the card that I believe has the best chance of winning, although there are never true locks in MMA, I really like this person to get the job done, and it's going to be Steve Garcia. If you guys have been following the channel, you would even know, like, I've always said David Onama has been an underrated fighter. But Steve Garcia, I believe to be a ranked level fighter. He's been stacking up wins against some very good guys. He's been implementing his game plan. He's been showing that he can drag you into an absolute dogfight, and he can fight technical. And when he fights technical, he's very awkward. I believe him to be getting better, even though he's 33, going 34 years old. He's going to be exiting his prime soon. I like him a lot in this matchup. I think he's on a great momentum swing, and I would imagine he's going to implement the same game plan against David Onama, and I cannot wait to watch his fight because Onama's a dog too. I just think Garcia is going to get the better of the battle. Steve Garcia is going to be my most confident pick on the entire card. With that being said, guys, let's continue on over to the more unstructured part of the video. Let's see if there's any props available for us over here, okay? Let's see what we have going on over here. Let's see. Monster, I'll bring myself over to the other side over here, okay? Cedricus Dumas, Dante Johnson, over 1.5 at plus money. Crazy, man. That's Cedricus Dumas for you. Daniel Frunza, Charles Radke. Nah, I don't really love that one either. You have Themba Gorimbo, Jeremiah Wales over 2.5 rounds. That could be a clinch fest from Themba Gorimbo. That one's a possibility over there. We also have David Onama versus Steve Garcia over 1.5 being at minus 105. Dude, I don't mind that at all. Onama is a tough cookie. I can see him lasting against Steve Garcia for over 1.5. That is something that I would actually consider. For that value, let me know what you guys think about that one. Very, very interesting there, okay? Let's see what else we have going on over here. Deontay D'Elia versus Waldo Cortes-Acosta over 2.5 at plus money. Don't mind that either, to be honest with you. Of course we don't have prop. This is the one I was most interested in. Of course we don't have anything for it. Of course. Yeah, Norma Dumont versus Ketlin Vieira. There's no way there's going to be a finish there. There's potential for a couple fights over there. Now let's continue on to the fun parlay section, guys. Oh boy. I have no idea what I'm going to want to make over here. Let's pick some fights, okay? We're going to pick Alice Ardeline. We're going to pick Billy. We're going to pick... You guys are so confident that Kevin Christian's going to lose. I'm not confident Billy Elkanah to get the job done either. We're skipping that fight. What do I even like? I don't even like any of these guys. We're going to pick Norma Dumont. Actually, Norma Dumont for that value, not too bad. But I'm not even confident she gets the job done. We're going to pick Seokyeon Ho. We're going to pick Isaac Delgarian. We're going to pick Themba Gorimbo. We're going to pick Ante D'Elia and Steve Garcia there. There is something bound to go wrong with a parlay that big, guys, at 17 times your money. But something my sister and I do every single week. We put 10 cents on every single underdog on the card. And one time watching Bellator, we were almost millionaires, and we've done it ever since. Let's see what we get going on over here. Oh, man, I hate this new interface over at Betway. That's all we get? Perfect. Not a ton of work with over there. Guys, I don't know. I would have to parlay, like, props for this one, honestly. Like... What can I see? Like Alan Nascimento, Rafael Estevam going over 1.5 rounds, and maybe a Garcia Onama. But Garcia and Onama, I would just bet by itself. But there's a lot of potential. I'm sorry, there's not much to work with the fun parlay section today, guys. Let's make something. Okay? We're gonna pick Steve Garcia. We're gonna pick Isaac Delgarian. But I don't even. Yeah, that might be the best you're gonna get. I wish that I could, like, look into some round lines for them, too, because if we get Steve Garcia and Alan Nascimento versus Rafael Estevam to go over 1.5, that would be the parlay that I would do. That would be the parlay that I actually like. But again, I personally hate MMA parlays. This sport is so crazy. Something is always bound to go wrong. Let me know what you think down below. Thank you so much for watching. Check out the full card breakdown if you want to hear me yap about all of the fights as deep as we could possibly get. Thanks for being here, everybody. Take care, guys.